Well, I come from Finland, the country between European Union and Russia, 1,300 kilometers of common border, the longest interface between Russia and European Union. And we have a fantastic common history with both Russia and Europe. Now 1917 is remembered by everybody, and especially my university in Tampere, which is the second largest town in Finland, a couple of 100 kilometers north of Helsinki, the capital. It remembers 1917 because the seeds of the Russian Revolution were put to fertile soil politically in 1905 by a party congress of the Social Democratic Party of Russia. Lenin and Stalin met for the first time there as delegates of the Congress. They met second time, 1906, and then the rest is history, what happened in 1917. And Finland was also part of this because we became independent. We gained independence from Tsarist Russia along with the October Revolution. So the dialogue of civilizations is in a way in my blood and history of Finland, because we were always between different west and east and north and south. And I was personally growing up after the war and witnessing the reconstruction of a new peaceful relation with not only Soviet Union but also the other countries after a very bitter experience in the war when Finland was together with Italy and some other countries allied with the Nazi Germany. But we still we were not defeated. We were able to gain independence, however, with some loss of territory and financial war reparations. Anyhow, all that post-war development with which I grew as a schoolboy and so on was a success story of a country growing out of, and culture growing out of the war and being able to build into a welfare state, Nordic welfare state. Personally, I have been very much involved in the détente development since the 1970s, early 70s, when the European Conference of Security and Cooperation was held and finalized in Helsinki in August 1975. I was personally involved in the media aspects of the détente, and this gave me a kind of confidence that one can do something politically and academically in the field of dialogue of civilizations. I present a word of caution today because what we are now witnessing since the last about 20 years of digital internet-based developments is a new risk of people becoming too dispersed and on the one hand separated from a common interest of society and forming their own little groups through social media, and we call it social bubbles. I was pointing out already 2.5 years in the Rhodes Forum in 2014 that this social media development, which originally was very promising for democracy, to open up and increase transparency and two-way communication, it increasingly was turning into a kind of creation of little groups of like-minded people who disregarded the reality of the rest of society, and also tended to develop hatred and prejudice among themselves towards the others. So instead of society making positive use of digitalization, it increasingly made use of that into very doubtful purposes, and that's why in this bubble, with this bubble syndrome or problem, I raise my voice and put this caution into the table. We have had, of course, with Brexit and Donald Trump's coming to presidency, we have had warning signals for the world that politics might change from a civilized discourse of informed citizens considering how to behave in democracy into some sort of a new tribalism with fighting groups. But thank God these groups have not been fighting too much yet in Europe among themselves. It's a sort of psychological warfare which has been going on. And I think we should now work very hard to overcome the escalation of these internal cleavages and bubbles and try to create dialogue between them, and not only within countries but also between civilizations, Western, European, Asian, separately in Confucian-based Chinese, and the Hinduism in India, and also the Muslim cultures. There is a lot to be learned and studied, and a dialogue is the way to solve these problems instead of resorting to military means. We do have in Finland our populist party, which was a phenomenal growth of a party which was typically a populist. So-called true Finns. They skyrocketed from 6% to some over 15, close to 20% in elections. And now, luckily, they are going down because they went to government, and with the government responsibility, shared coalition government, they could not satisfy the voters, and voters are turning away from them and learning the hard lesson that you can't get everything that you are promised by politicians. So we do have this contradiction between elites and people, but not so much, because our country has been traditionally more perhaps open, and there has not been such a big amount of rich elite like in UK, for instance. We have few individuals, but then it's more or less a kind of middle class society, and that has helped us to get away from the biggest contradictions.